Hi everybody, Russ and my Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. For you channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware anytime we put new content on today's channel. Today's video is brought to you by our channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below for all your shirt, t-shirts, polo top needs, all designed to be worn untucked. So even people like me, even my sizes, they have lovely shirts for. So make sure you check them out. Today's guest, you might have seen, he was on Soccer AM a couple of weeks ago, so we've got him on. It's Aaron. How are you doing, man?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me on today, Ross. Really looking forward to it.
Absolute pleasure. And just to remove the fourth wall, Aaron's we've had to move it a little bit earlier today because Aaron's managed to get himself a hair appointment before we get into lockdown. So congratulations.
Well, those who are watching the video know that I take pride in my hair, so unfortunately it's a bit long for this video, but yeah, looking forward to it.
That's brilliant. How are you? Apart from obviously waiting to get a haircut, how are you? Everything at the moment?
All good. Everything's all good at the moment. So yeah, can't really complain.
Brilliant. And obviously, yeah, it's going to be fun the next 4 weeks, isn't it? But hey, yo.
Yeah, it's actually my 30th birthday on the 25th as well.
Oh.
So, yeah, got lots of celebrations coming.
Yes, but lots of celebrations in your own house, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh dear, but West Ham are keeping us all entertained, so yeah. That's all good, isn't it? We're doing all right at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we've had some really hard fixtures. I think the true test is going to come in the next few weeks, and yeah, just looking forward to us hopefully winning a few games.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I mean, it is really where our season starts, to be honest, isn't it? Really, I think the first. No one gave us much of a hope, apart from those who are eternal optimists like me. Those first 7 games or 8 games, where it was, and now these is when our season starts. So, as you said, with Fulham and obviously we've got Sheffield United and Villa. Yeah, you've got to be looking at maximum points, really, shouldn't you?
Definitely.
Otherwise, it would completely ruin the last few games for us if we then lose, get turned over. But it's West Ham, Aaron, isn't it? So we know that could possibly happen, but doesn't matter.
Right?
Exactly. They turn up, but we don't know when they're going to turn up. And how was Soccer AM? That was good fun, isn't it? That's a giggle, isn't it, doing that?
Yeah, it was brilliant. So I mean, really great experience. Me and my cousin were big West Ham fans, so we managed to kind of round up a few of our other friends, and yeah, it was a great experience. Met James Collins and Carlton Cole, which was really fun. Just unfortunately, we couldn't get away with any money that day.
We had Colton doing an absolute, just becoming like the Colton we love, bless him, rather than that sort of spectacular Colton which turns up occasionally. It was the other one, unfortunately, wasn't it?
As I said, second most prolific striker in the Premier League for us.
Mental, isn't it? It's absolutely mental. But no, it's good fun, Soccer AM, isn't it? I did it once. Actually, I did it twice. No, yeah, I did it. I did it once when I was a third eye. I got picked up as a third eye randomly at the old ground. They'd seen a silhouette of me in my box dancing or something. That one, I can't remember. And then the following week, they phoned me up, and Tubes phoned me up and got me on there. They used to do a segment called "Stranger on the Sofa," where this was like years. This was like Tim Lovejoy and Helen Chamberlain. This was like right at the beginning of Soccer AM, and that like a random person would be on the sofa just waving. And that was me one game. It's just they take the piss out of you. You can't really say anything, and that's it. You're done. But yeah, I think we had we had Joe Calzaghe, Matt Dawson. I think Feeder. God, Feeder. Remember them? Jesus. So yeah, we had a bit. Yeah. So, but you're 30, so you probably just about remember Feeder, to be honest. Or you're 29 at the moment, Aaron. Just about. But no, good fun. The good guys, and it's always a giggle there, isn't it? It's always, I just like listening to because all the banter and stuff during the breaks and things. And obviously you had Bulldog there as well, didn't you? And people like that. And yeah, I love a bit of Bullard and stuff. But yeah, good old Colton. And obviously James Collins, he announced his retirement on that show, didn't he? Really. Although I thought he'd been retired for a while personally. I didn't really know. I thought he'd retired. I didn't know he was still looking for a club, but yeah, he's a good man. But yeah, it's good experience, isn't it? As you said, it's nice to meet some players, ex-players, and you had a couple of good ones there with Colton and GP. So it's all good, man. It's all good. And as I said, we've got your cousin over soon, a couple of weeks' time, so that'd be good as well. We'll get him on. So, Aaron, the first, pardon me, sorry, I mean to cough in the mic. The first question I usually ask is why West Ham? We see you got the lovely third strip on. I still haven't got that one yet. Maybe Father Christmas might get it for me for Christmas. Hint, Mrs. Budden. So it's a standard present now. When you got a kid, and it's like home strips usually your birthday, away strips usually Father's Day. then the third one, or a retro one for Christmas. It's pretty
Brilliant.
predictable.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, it is. It's quite predictable though. So why West Ham, Aaron? Right? Why is it your club, man?
So I did choose the life of paralysing self-doubt and misery, Russ, like yourself. And the reason why is mainly due to my father. So my dad's a big West Ham fan, and kind of like father, like son. We kind of watch the games together, and that's kind of where my main interest for it came. And just happened when I was at school as well. One of my best friends at primary school also happened to support West Ham, and him and his father were season ticket holders in the Bobby Moore Lower back at the Upton Park, and I used to go quite regularly with them. So that's the main reason why, if I'm honest.
Brilliant. And then, as he said, once you're in, you're in as well, isn't it? So there's no deviation. Did your dad? Did he? Did he give you an option, or was that not going to be any option?
I've kind of just appreciated that was really my path, and so know, dad supports the team, and we kind of support them together, and never really looked back. And as you said, there's been a lot of ups and mainly a lot of downs, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, I wouldn't either. And doing this type of thing and talking to over 200 different people, you get this sort of we have this sort of weird resilience as West Ham fans. It's just we're just a very strange bunch of fans. We shouldn't be so passionate. We shouldn't be so dedicated to supporting this team because they never win anything, particularly in our lifetime. Apart from the Intertoto Cup in 1999, I do appreciate it. But and a couple of Betway trophies as well. I mean, only us would invent a trophy which we never win. And stuff like that. But it's so West Ham, and even now, even more so now, we've obviously going back into the second lockdown 2.0. You just see like on Twitter, like on Facebook and stuff, all the West Ham community all pulling together for each other. Someone might say, I don't know, I'm feeling a bit down today, and then 10 minutes later they get like, a tweet again, say I've just had like 300 messages of support and stuff like that. And we're a special bunch of guys, isn't it? I mean, you must have got loads of nice feedback after Soccer AM. Probably people you haven't spoken, like me, I haven't spoken to you probably before, and I was like, yeah, it's great, come on the show. And you must have like lots of people come and find you on Twitter and say well done for the Soccer AM stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. It was quite good, and we didn't go on the show to do that, obviously, but
no, of course not.
Kind of hear back from other people in the community too.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. It is nice. And I think also because obviously we can't, in terms of going to the games and things like that. I mean, obviously I'm very fortunate in that fact that I still go to the games, but obviously technically working there. Going like meeting for people beforehand, going to the pub beforehand, socializing with the mates around, the people you sit with. That's what I think people have missed. And the sooner we get back, the better. Whenever that may be. Might be next year, next season, to be honest, I reckon. But we'll see. No one knows, unfortunately. But it's horrible, isn't it? It's a horrible thing that's going on, and but it's important to keep the football going. I think just to have something to moan about, isn't it? Rather than moan about Trump and Biden and moan about everything else and COVID. Moaning about West Ham takes things away. So it's and that's why I love chatting to people like yourself about West Ham, because everyone has a different opinion, don't they? So. It's all good. Do you remember your first game, Aaron? Hello, Aaron. Do you remember your first game? Aaron is in stunned silence because he's. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. It's the beauty of the modern world that we have to do this communication via video now, and we probably will be doing this for a long time like this. So don't worry, man. I was going to say, do you remember your first game, your first West Ham game? Stunned silence from Aaron again.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect there, man. I was just saying, do you remember your first West Ham game? Hello, Aaron. Oh dear. He's covered. We're gonna get it sorted. We're gonna get it sorted, everybody. Don't worry. We'll get it sorted. Aaron's gonna come back on in a minute. We're gonna get him on, and it'll be all good. Hello, can you hear me, Aaron? Hello, Aaron.
Hi there, Russ. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine, man. I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you well. Yeah, sorry about that. Just having
Cool.
having a few internet issues.
Don't be silly. Got to get them sorted before tomorrow, mate. Otherwise, you are buggered, isn't it?
Definitely.
Otherwise, you have to be playing, ball games and talking to people. Unbelievable in your household. I was going to say, do you remember your first West Ham game?
Yeah, definitely. So my first game was actually before the millennium. So it was the 20th of March, 1999. It was a home game against Newcastle. We won 2-0. Goals from Paolo Di Canio and Paul Kitson. And yeah, it was a great game. I always remember kind of walking up the stairs of the Bobby Moore Lower, seeing the ground and just thinking, how much different it looked from the telly, and how kind of enclosed it all looked. And yeah, it was brilliant. So really enjoyed it. I think it was a great goal from Paolo right at the start of the game, and then a kind of second half header from Paul Kitson.
Oh, Paul Kitson, what a player he was. I mean, and also it's what I think about when you go to your first game is it's the smells. It's like that sort of that grassy smell you get when you walk out, and you could smell it, and particularly after the game, because obviously it's been cut up with all the players, and walking down Green Street and smelling the mystery meats that are being cooked in the burger vans and things like that. It's all these sensory things which I just think it's not necessarily the game. I remember my game very vividly, but I remember what my granddad said to me, and I remember this, and I remember seeing the lady and the steward and all that type of stuff, and it's everything around the day. But once you go, you're hooked, aren't you? And I think I haven't met anyone yet who said, "Oh yeah, the first time it was all right. I didn't bother going back." Everyone's in. Once you're in, you're in. And as you said, that was the beginning, the turn of a millennium beforehand, and now 21 years later, you're still going. So we're not going now, but you're still following them.
Still, sorry, actually, I'll probably say my love for West Ham is even stronger than it was then.
It is, yeah. It's like osmosis, isn't it? It just like gets into your clothes and into your skin and into the way you work. So even obviously before lockdown, when obviously people could go to football matches, if you had a meeting, like a 5 o'clock meeting, we're playing we've got Liverpool at 7:45 kickoff. Can we do it for like 4:30? So I can make sure I'll be back in time for the game. And even now, I'm still sort of planning around my afternoons and what to do now. And no, I love it. It's brilliant. It's all good. Right. Well, before let's keep going while we still got internet. Right. Let's do your Hammers 11, Aaron. So obviously, everyone we've had on the channel, we basically asked them to give their 11. They're 1 to 11. The only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play, and you can talk about whoever you want to talk about. There's no criteria. Might be the best, might be the worst, might be your favourites, your cult heroes, whatever, or French-based Hammers, whatever. So that's what we'll do, and then hopefully, as I said, then you can get ready in the queue for your haircut. So right, so if we start off in goal, so who is in goal for the Aaron 11?
These are probably, for my 11, it's the best players that I've seen in my lifetime. And nice. This is, I've done some kind of good thought on who to bring in. And so for the goalie position, I'm going for Shaka Hislop. So I know that he played for us
good shout.
I know he played for us over a couple of stints, 98 to 2002. And then obviously for the FA Cup final, he was in goal in 2006. And so for me, Shaka, he's been the best goalie I've seen in our time. And yeah, it was really good memories with him in goal.
Yeah, top bloke, top guy. Always, and when you talk about Shaka Hislop, you have to smile. He just always makes you like, just the name of Shaka Hislop just makes me smile. And I tell a story. When I used to live in Loughton, Shaka used to live in Loughton, and he would do his shopping. I think it's every Thursday or Friday or something like that. In Sainsbury's where I used to work, and so you'd see him from about from the bench, because he was so tall. His head would go above the shopping aisles, and he's top guy. We had him on the channel. Love him. He's such a nice bloke. Loves the club. Really, really friendly. And as you said, played an FA Cup final for us. So it's not too bad. That is not too shabby. Right. Okay. Are we playing 4 at the back, or are we doing anything creative? What are we doing?
So we're going 4-2-3-1 today. So
4-2-3-1. Go for it.
So my right back would be For me, it's got to be Lucas Neal, just because,
Nice.
you know, I thought he was a really good captain. We may have not got the best years out of him in terms of fullback, but I think he was a really good captain for the team when he came in, and what he'd done in terms of the kind of relegation season and how we built on that with Alan Kirbishley moving forward. I think that he was kind of fundamental to that. And for me, I know we haven't been blessed with
No.
brilliant right backs probably in my lifetime, but I'll probably say that Lucas is probably the best of that bunch.
Yeah, and I think that's a great shout, and I think he's someone who, when you talk about good captains, he's not necessarily first of your front of mind, but speaking to a lot of players around that time, like we've had Anton on, we've had a few others. He was a fantastic club captain, and really instilled a really good work ethos and an ethos in terms of respecting the rest of the club, not just the players, but he'd make sure that they were, a percentage of win bonuses were given to the boot boys, to the ground staff, to the tea ladies and things like that. And that's what you need. You need and he was like, and I think I'd be scared if I wasn't putting a shift in, because he had that sort of Australian accent as well. And everything sounds more menacing when he shouts. And so, no, he was a great guy and a fantastic captain. Right, Lucas Neal is in. Let's go left back then. Let's go the other side then. Who's going to be left back
so
then, Aaron?
left back's probably this one I had to think about. There's been a couple of good left backs over my time. I've actually chosen on Sebastian Schemmel, Hammer of the Year, I believe, in 2001. And he came in and he was absolutely brilliant for us. And he was part of that real special team of the early 2000s, in my opinion, with kind of Paolo, Joe Cole, Michael Carrick, etc. And for me, I thought he was a great player. I know he went a little bit off the boil in his, I think, either his second season or third season with us. But for that 1 year, he deserved a place in my team.
Yeah, he was Hammer of the Year that year as well, I believe. And what I liked about Schemmel, what I liked about him is he was just really exciting when he came in. He was like the modern day fullback, and he was like bounding forward, and I still believe he was the first player to play for West Ham who wore a hairband. And I'm sure someone will tell me that, because he had and then obviously he had the hair. And then second season, you said he cut it all off like Samson, and that was it. He was crap the second season, but that first season he was brilliant. And he clearly still loves the club, because he lives in Luxembourg, and he owns a restaurant or a cafe called Upton Park. And so, yeah, when we can all start traveling again, that's one of my destinations I want to go to, just to because I think it'd just be cool. But yeah, he's a top guy, top bloke, and and he was in my Hammers 11 as well, because the impact he gave on me. Right, so Sebastian Schemmel is in. Centre backs. Let's go for your first centre back then, Aaron.
Centre halves are a little bit difficult to choose from, in my opinion, but I've settled on two guys I think that have given kind of great service to our club, and also kind of great memories for myself. So I'm going for first centre back, Winston Reid. So I know he came in 2010, obviously suffered relegation with us, but he stayed with us, and arguably kind of 2012, 2013, he was one of the best centre backs in the league. And I know he got that 6-year deal, and it didn't kind of work out too well for him. But again, last goal in the bowling, we've got to have Winston Reid in the team.
You got to have him, and he scored against. He's done the hat trick, really. Scored against Millwall, scored against Tottenham, and he scored the last goal at the bowling. As you said, and it's great to see him playing in Sporting Kansas City at the moment. Who knows? I think it runs out in January's loan deal, so who knows? He may be back. I hope so. I'd like to see him back. Yeah, hopefully. Right. Okay. Who's Winnie going to partner in that centre back position then, Aaron?
So this is a tough one for me, because I actually, when I first started going to West Ham, Rio Ferdinand was in the team, and he was coming through. But I've actually got to go with Danny Gabardon, just because again, service for the team. And when he signed for the club and was playing for us, I felt that he was probably one of our best defenders, and he did a great job. And again, that season with Anton 05-06, that they were solid, both of them.
They were. Yeah, they were. I mean, we that sort of period we was quite good because we had your mate James Collins there as well, and it was like, and so we had a good set of full of centre backs at the time, and that was, and obviously people like Elliot Ward and stuff like that were in there as well, and yeah, it was a good time to be a centre back at West Ham. We had a nice selection, and that's why I'm partly quite looking forward to this lockdown 2.0 because I don't know if you follow Danny on Instagram, but he does DJ sets in his loft.
Yep.
Live on Instagram, and so I'm quite looking forward to hearing them again because it was really good background music and it was quite good actually. But yeah, Gabs, bless him, he's a very busy man. I keep trying to get him on the channel, but he's so busy with all the football and commentary and punditry and stuff like that. It's and that's the trouble. Everyone's so busy now because there's still football going on. Last lockdown, it was easy. Yeah. Everyone was had loads of spare time in their hands. They couldn't play golf. They could do nothing. So football players literally twiddling their fingers. So they always dying to come on. Now it's that's a bit of a bind, but we get there eventually. Okay, right. So we'll put Winnie Reed and Gabs in. Right. So we're going to play playing So who are the first of the two in the 4-2-3-1?
So I think in the centre midfield options, I think out of the whole team are probably the two of the easiest ones to come up with.
Yeah.
For me, you've got to have Mark Noble in there first of all. He's pretty much played in the West Ham team pretty much half of my life. So
Yeah, exactly.
Again, great memories with kind of for what he's done for us, and the Great Escape brings to mind, and then just the consistency. I mean, putting together this team, I've watched a lot of kind of old West Ham highlights from the last 10, 15 years, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing that he's played pretty much every single one of these games that we've had in the league. So for longevity, got to have Mark Noble, and I just hope the fans can be back in the stadium to say goodbye to him.
I hope so. Yeah, it's a good point. I haven't thought of that. Yeah, obviously, potentially it could be. If not, it could be next year. But then who knows when fans are going to be back in the ground? So that's a bloody good point. And same as we mentioned James Collins, and he came out on Twitter, Instagram, and said he'd love to come out to the fans one more time in the claret and blue and say goodbye. And so it's going to be a couple of emotional games coming up soon, whenever it's going to be, because they'll surely get James Collins on at half time, and it's a bit of an easy one, isn't it, for the club to get him on and say goodbye. And obviously Mark as well. I mean, what's going to happen? It's going to be like devastating. It's like for you, they said half your life, half your West Ham supporting life is being played. Some kids, Declan Rice is basically been in the club as long as Declan Rice has been there. You know what I mean? It's like it's going to be devastating because there's not many fans who play for your club. It's a sort of dying breed to be doing that, and so yeah. But he's Mark, and the thing about Mark is if he's he'll know when it's right to retire. Because he's honest. He's a very honest player, isn't he? So when he knows he can't compete anymore, then he'll hang his boots up. And we know that's going to be a shame. But he'll be around the club, won't he? He's going to be like, coach. He's already doing the coaching badges now, I think, and stuff like that. And he'll always be involved at West Ham. But, yeah, he's a top bloke. Right. Okay, Nobes is in. Who's going to be the second centre mid then?
It's got to be Scott Parker, I think. I was a bit skeptical when he signed in 2010, I believe, but he proved me wrong. Great player for the team, and you hear some of the stories from our kind of relegation season, and some team talks that he done, and other things, and great player for us. Just hope we beat them on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry, should I say
Saturday. God, I was a bit worried then. I was like, what, Friday? No, Saturday night. Saturday night, annoyingly, like 8:00 at night. Yes, Scott Parker. He is. I have the most respect for the man, and I always go to bat for him when people criticise him, the fact that he went to Tottenham and stuff like that, because that winds me up more than anything ever. And he is a top guy. And when we talk about our players, we want players who are going to play for the shirt, going to play 100%, going to put all their all in. And Scott Parker epitomised that for 3 years. Won Ham of the Year 3 years in a row. Not many people have done that at all. Won Football Writers Player of the Year the season we went down. And even when he was going to Tottenham, I think he played the day before and scored against Watford away, I think. And yeah, top bloke. And eventually, I think he'd be a good West Ham manager. There we go. I've said it. I think he'd be good for us because I think he's got that sort of mentality, and hopefully he'd have people on board. Further down the line, obviously, we want to beat them on Saturday, despite the fact, as you said, Scott's lovely, but we want to beat him. And obviously the effect on the way Mark Noble's carried himself throughout his career has been heavily influenced by Scott Parker. There's no denying that. When they were playing together. And in turn, the way Declan's holding himself is because of Mark Noble, which is because of Scott Parker. So the influence of Scott Parker on our team now is still apparent. And I think people are starting to realise that a little bit more now, which is great. Right, Scotty P is in. Right, so that's the 4 done. That's the 2 done. Now we've got the 3. Who's going to be the first of that 3?
I'll start on the right of midfield. So I'm going to go for Trevor Sinclair. Just because he was probably one of my favourite players, along with Paolo Di Canio, when I was a young boy, and he was brilliant for us. Even now I look at some of the goals that he scored, and when you start talking about people playing for the shirt and kind of like desire, commitment, I see that all with Sinclair. Like, I think there's no doubt he probably could have played at a slightly higher level than what we were at the time, but absolutely brilliant for us.
Definitely, and you're right. He is brilliant. I love Trevor Sinclair. He is a massive fan of the channel. He's, and because you put Trevor Sinclair in the team, we're gonna get a like from him or a retweet. So that's all good. So that tweet engagement is coming on. So that's all good. No, top bloke, and he adores the club. He adores the fans. I know that firsthand, and he is a very humble man, and you see how he's spoken in the on Twitter and stuff recently about the fans and the club against obviously he's had a bit of a spat with Jim White and stuff because of it, and top bloke. He's coming. We've had him on. He's going to come back on we're doing some charity stuff, and he's gracious enough to come back on and be a quiz person. He's going to be rubbish, but he's a top dude, so he's going to give his time, which is lovely. Right, so Trevor Sinclair is in. Okay, who's next then, Aaron?
So I'll go for number 10. Only one choice really. Mr. Di Canio is going to be in the team again. As a young boy, he scored my first goal that I went to see at Upton Park for the team, and just kind of overall icon, isn't it? So you can't say a bad word about Paolo.
No, you can't. He's and again, I say it. I feel like a broken record sometimes, but what I mean, Di Canio is my favourite player of all time. Not my favourite technical player, not the best technical player, but he's my favourite player because he had a personality, and I think that's something which the game rapidly doesn't have anymore. They don't have personalities. They're all very clever, very tricky players, very, very technically gifted, but they're not. I don't have personalities. You know what I mean? It's like, Di Canio is like, he's Italian and stuff. You don't get that no more. And you don't get sort of throwing his stuff on the floor. But then anyone who does have a personality now is vilified. So someone like Jack Grealish, who's he's a cocky little bugger, but he's vilified for being a cocky little bugger. But back in the 90s and back in the early 2000s, you look at that team with Trevor Sinclair, and you had Di Canio, and you had, Vivian Foe, you had like Neil Ruddock, you had some really good characters, Ian Wright. And so, it's something which I think the game lacks terribly now. Although in looking at West Ham in general, we've probably got the most charismatic team out of a not very charismatic league, because you've got Antonio who dresses up as a snowman and crashes Lamborghini, and you've got Declan Rice who's always used in prank videos, and Robert Snodgrass and people like that. But it's not across the board now. It's a real shame, because I just think particularly now, we like to be entertained, don't we? We want to be entertained now. We've got nothing to do now for a month, apart from watching Netflix and watching football. So entertain us, be exciting, get us off our seat. Not just really technical, but just with your personalities. All right. Okay, Premier League. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Rant over. Right, Paolo Di Canio, God bless him. Massive fan of his. And we've had some really funny stories about him from fans when they've met him, and just, really, really funny bloke. And eventually we'll get him on. Eventually. He'll be like my sort of, that's my blue whale. He's my blue whale. So probably going to get about 500 guests. I'll get him on eventually, but he mainly want paying. So please, everyone, look at the Patreon and please subscribe to the Patreon, because we can. That's what that's there for. Right, Paolo Di Canio is in. Who is next? Who's on that right, the left, or is it right or left? It doesn't matter. Who's on the last one at 3, mate?
So left-hand side, there's only one man for the job. So arguably, I'd have to say probably my favourite player to wear a West Ham shirt. It really hurt when he left, and it's got to be the one and only Dimitri Payet.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. I think that season 2015, 2016, he really made me believe that, you know, we're going to do great things. And I think, you know, us finishing seventh that season was a real kind of disservice. You know, we went kind of like 18 games undefeated. We beat pretty much everyone away from home, and he was pretty much the main part of that. And, you know, as you're talking about playing with personality, playing with kind of skill, I think he really had it all. So, I mean, we got the best years out of him, and I can only say thank you, Dimitri, if you're watching.
Yes, it probably will be. Timmy probably is. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, yeah, Di Canio is my favourite player, but Payet was probably the best player I've ever seen play at West Ham, and probably ever will. Unfortunately, I don't think in our lifetime, Aaron, unless there's some massive change, we won't see a Ballon d'Or nominee in our first 11. It's a terrible shame to think that.
Right?
We can only hope Barami's going to do it, but yeah, but he was brilliant, wasn't he? Payet was just phenomenal. Again, not obviously not riddled with personality, but he was technically fantastic. And as you said, you know, I can't remember ever a time before or after where you get a free kick outside about 25, 30 yards in, and you think it's almost like a penalty. It's almost going in. He had so much confidence in the man, and yes, you said that seventh probably did us disservice. Obviously, he was injured for quite a few games, wasn't he, as well? What could have been? That's always the way of West Ham. What could have been? Not what was, because we definitely won. We haven't done that before. What could have been? As you said, you know, some of his goals, and he just redefined how to take free kicks and stuff. You know, when Cristiano Ronaldo would do that knuckleball, and you know that was a new way of doing a free kick. Payet brought with him another way of doing a free kick. You know, where it was just dips the last second, and no goalkeeper could seem to do it. And yeah, it was nice having a player that all your mates who weren't West Ham wanted in their team. Do you know what I mean? And like
100%.
things like fantasy football leagues, and he was like top of the fantasy football league in terms of picking. I was proud to have him in the team. And he left in a weird way, and yes, but that happens with them type of players, those mercurial players, don't they? We only got Di Canio because he pushed the referee over. Do you know what I mean? So it's it doesn't all, it's not all swings and roundabouts, but yeah. All right, we'll put Dimmy in, and that leaves one. That leaves the one. Who is going to be the spearhead of this attack then, Aaron? That's the question we're all asking.
I mean, there's been a number of strikers. This was probably my hardest decision, if I'm honest. I was a big fan of Diafra.
Yes.
Back in the day, big fan of kind of Dean Ashton as well, great strikers of ours, but I've got to go with our new makeshift striker, which is Mikel Antonio up top. I think he's played everywhere, all over the park for us, and I had to find a position in my team for him, and he's been doing great, not just since lockdown, but for the last 5 years he's been absolutely brilliant for us as well. So can't really fault Mikel Antonio, and I think he's a grafter. I think he complemented it quite well.
Yeah, and he's a grafter. You know, he hasn't just like, that's what I like about him. He's gone through non-league and worked his way up, and I just think there's something special about someone who does that. He hasn't just had, it hasn't all been given to him when he was 18. He's like put into the first team of the Premier League. He's worked hard, and now he's almost like a bit of a late bloomer, really, properly now in terms of the Premier League. I mean, everyone knew he was a good player and knew he was a good runner, but this sort of, and I've coined this phrase called the Moisification, and that's what he does. He's Moisified Antonio into a strike. He did it with Arnautovic, and he's done it with, sort of Fornals into a left midfielder, and he's done it with Masuaku into a wing back, and I just think he's got to get a call up soon, surely, like a proper call up, not like an obligatory one because he was playing well, but there's no one like him in the Premier League, I don't think, in terms of what he does. He's so special. He's such a special player and so powerful. And obviously, someone like Traore, he's powerful, but he's more of a winger. He just stays on the wing. I just think he's brilliant. And we know he's going to get injured all the time because it's just typical West Ham. You can have someone who's built like Antonio but have glass legs. It's just such a West Ham thing. But no, he's great. And as you said, he's it's a shame he's out at the moment, but he'll be back, and he'll be and again, he keeps us entertained. He's a trier as well, isn't it? God loves a trier, and we love a trier. And although he's stopped that doing so much now, he used to run all the time, but now obviously because he's up front of his own, he seems to pick and choose when to hound a defender. And I can't think of any defender in the Premier League who can keep up with him. In terms of physically, the only one would have been Van Dijk, and obviously he tradition, typically neither played that game, so we never would have known. But yeah, it's such a West Ham thing. But he's a dude, isn't it? And as you said, I mean, you talk about Carlton Cole being, second with his, in terms of the strikers, in terms of the goals. I think Antonio is like fourth. He's, and he's racking in there. So no, it's good. And you've managed to get. I mean, you've got Noble, you've got Di Canio, and you've got Antonio. I think that's 3 out of the 4 top Premier League strikers for West Ham goal scorers. So that's not too bad. Plenty of goals there. I think Trev's in there as well. I think he's about 6th or 7th. Yeah. But no, it's all good, man. Arun, man, it's been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure chatting to you. And you got plenty of time to go and get to the barbers now, mate. So it's all good.
Thank you very much, Russ. Really appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me on.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you. And obviously, thanks everyone for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. If you're watching if you listen to it at Spotify, Apple iPods, Google Podcasts, give it a like, give it a share. For me and Arun, take care, everyone. Stay safe, wash those hands, and come you irons. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.